Good morning, children. Welcome back to our class. In our previous class, we started Unit 2. So, the theme of the second unit is wit and humor. So, in this wit and humor, there are three reading parts are there, and we discussed about the reading part 1, that is the Dear Departed 1. So, in this Dear Departed 1, the author of this unit is William Stanley Hutton, and this is the one act play. In other words, this is called as drama. So, there are seven main characters are there in this drama. So, Mrs. Slatter and Mrs. Jordan, these both are the sisters, and Mr. Ben and Henry are the husbands of Amelia or Mrs. Slatter and Elizabeth, and Victoria is the daughter of Amelia. Jimmy is the son of Elizabeth, and Abel Merry Weather, he is the father of Amelia and Elizabeth, and father-in-law of Ben and Henry is the grandfather of Victoria and Jimmy. So, in this play, Mrs. Slatter is a very vigorous and plump, and she can do, she is ready to anything to do for the act of her, for the sake of her act. And this Victoria is a very sharp and precocious girl, and she had to dress according to her mother's instructions. And Ben is a he always follows the instructions of his wife. So here these play is under the construction of the death of Abel Merry Weather, that Amelia think that her father was dead, and they send the telegram of her sisters, that is Elizabeth, and they are waiting for the arrival of Mrs. Ben Jordan. So later we have to know what will happen in the next paragraph. Before we are going to read the paragraph, first of all, we have to know the meaning of the difficult words mentioned in the paragraph. So, students, note down the glossary part of the following words. Startled. The word startled means surprised. Startled means surprised. And the second one is daft. The second one is daft, that is silly. And the next one is shabby. Shabby mean very poor condition. Next, delicate, light or not strong. Fasten, lock, close. Mantelpiece, a shelf above the fireplace. Flushed, with a red face. So students, note down this glossary part in your classworks. Put the date and note down the meanings of the difficult words. Now, coming to our lesson, Henry, stupefied, I wouldn't care too. Mrs. Slater, don't look so daft. Why not? Henry, it doesn't seem delicate somehow. Mrs. Slater, we could put that shabby old chest of drawers upstairs where the bureau is now. Elizabeth could have that and welcome. Ivy always wanted to get rid of it. She points to the drawers. Henry, suppose they come when we are doing it. Mrs. Slater, I will fasten the front door. Get your coat off, Henry. We will change it. Mrs. Slater goes out to fasten the front door. Henry takes his coat off. Mrs. Slater reappears. So, we go through the paragraph of the explanation. Here, Henry says that was surprised. So he says that to his wife, he couldn't handle the allotted work which was given to his wife. He says, I am not doing that. Mrs. Slater, don't look so daft. Why not? That means, don't silly Henry. Why didn't you do for it? See, said like. Then Henry says, it doesn't seem delicate somehow. So it doesn't seem delicate somehow. Here, it doesn't seem delicate. Here, he did not want to tug the bureau. I mean, he didn't want to tug the fragile of bureau. He talked the act of the present. That means, he didn't want to steal the bureau. Stealing the bureau is not correct according to the act. And he says that it was careful to handle the matter. So what is the matter here? To shift the bureau from her father's room. Then Mrs. Slater said, we could put the shabby old chest of drawers upstairs where the bureau is now. Elizabeth could have that and welcome. Ivy always wanted to get rid of it. So she points to the drawers. Mean here. Mrs. Slater says that. So we had a large strong box. Meaning of the chest is a large strong box, which was in a very poor condition. So the old chest which belongs to Mrs. Slater's is a very poor condition. So we had to keep that chest of drawers in the place of bureau, which was in her father's room. She wanted to take that, or she wanted to shift that bureau from her father's room. If Elizabeth came and saw the chest, she was pleased or be very happy. So she thinks, Mrs. Slater thought like that. So if her sisters came to that house and she saw the whole chest of drawers, and that Elizabeth had to think, oh, this is my father's thing, so I am very happy. So that's like she thinks, Mrs. Slater I'll be very happy. Here, Slater's nature is to throw away something she don't want. If she didn't want anything, she just throw it away. So here, the get rid of is an idiom. So idiom. So get rid of is the idiom, and the meaning of this get rid of is to throw away. To throw away, you didn't want, like that. Here, the Mrs. Slater also think like that. She just throw away. She did not want. If she did not want to do anything, she did not. Then Henry, suppose they come when we are doing it. He expressed his doubt. Here, suppose we shift the bureau from the upstairs. What will happen if they come? She expressed a doubt about the arrival of Elizabeth. Then Slater, I will fasten the front door. Get your coat off, Henry. We will change it. Mrs. Slater goes out to fasten the front door. Henry takes his coat off. Mrs. Slater reappears. And here, Slater says that I will lock the front door. Here, fasten the front door means I will lock the front door. Then, remove your coat, Henry. Remove your coat. She closed the front door and reappears. She will run up and move the chairs out of the way to shift the bureau. At that time, Victoria entered. She dressed up according to her mother's instructions. So, while the conversation is gone by Henry and Slater, in the middle of their conversation, Victoria appears. So, she changed her dress according to her mother's instruction. So, as we know, from the beginning, she dressed in colors. But her mother gives the advice to her to change her dress up. Then she dressed up according to her mother's instructions and came. Victoria, what have you got your coat off for, father? Henry, mother and I are going to bring grandpa's bureau down here. Victoria, are you planning to pinch it? Henry, shocked. No, my child. Grandpa gave it to your mother before he died. Victoria, this morning? Henry says, yes. Then Victoria says, he was drunken this morning. Mrs. Slater appears carrying a handsome clock under her arm. Mrs. Slater, I thought I would fetch this down as well. She puts it on the mantelpiece. Our clock's worth nothing and this always appealed to me. Here, Victoria says, what have you got your coat off for, father? Here, this little and precocious girl, Vicky, asked to his father, to her father, why did you remove a coat? She expressed her doubt here. Father, why did you remove your coat? Then Henry replied, so we are. Who are we here? Your mother and I are going to bring your grandpa's bureau from the upstairs to the down. He replied. Then Victoria asked surprisingly, Father, are you both of going to pinch or steal the grandpa's bureau? She asked very sharply and surprisingly. Are you going to plan to pinch it? Like that. Then Henry says, he was shocked. Well, this question put the Victoria, that is, are you planning to pinch? Then Henry shocked and he says, no, my child, we are not going to steal it. And he also replied, before your grandpa died, he gave it to your mother. So, we are not going to pinch that bureau. He replied his little Vicky. And Victoria asked, so this little Vicky is a very sharp girl, very intelligent girl. And she asked father, when did he give her? Okay. When did he give her? Here Henry said, so before your grandfather died, so this bureau is given to your mother. And Victoria points out, when did he give her? This morning? Then Henry says, yes, this morning. And Victoria, he was drunk this morning. He was drunk this morning. So this little girl expresses, maybe grandpa was in unconscious condition. Maybe grandpa was in unconscious condition. That's why he gave it to my mother unknowingly. So if the grandfather was in condition, he didn't give it to her mother. She knows that. That's why this little Vicky says that her grandpa was in unconscious condition. Why did he was in unconscious condition here? Because he was drunk this morning. That's why he gave it to my mother unknowingly. And Mrs. Slater appears carrying a handsome clock under her arm. So here actually Mrs. Slater went to upstairs for moving the bureau, to shift the bureau, and there she find a handsome clock. In Abel's room she find a handsome clock also, and she take that clock under her arm and she came back to the dawn. And she gave the explanation, or she gave the reason, or she may explain the thing. She may be the explain the act of her doing is. I wanted to bring the clock as well from her father's room. So she bring that clock from her father's room, and she put the clock on the mantelpiece. That is, so here the mantelpiece mean, so there is a shelf above a fireplace. A shelf above the fireplace. So in that house there is a fireplace, maybe because in London the climate is so cool. That's why in everybody's home we find fireplace. So on the above of fireplace there is a shelf, and she put the clock on it. And she says that our clock is useless. So our clock is useless in our room. So Mrs. Slatters had also a clock in her room, but that is useless. She thinks like that. Means she thought like that. So this clock is always attracted to me. Which clock? Abel's room. So the clock is in Abel's room that was always attracted to Mrs. Slatter. So that's why she says that this clock is always attracted to me. That's why I bring this one. She had to explain. So from the beginning of the lesson, we had to discuss the character of the Mrs. Slatter. She can do at any cost. She can do whatever she wants at any. We go for the another paragraph. That Victoria said, that's Grandpa's clock. Mrs. Slatter, be quiet. It's hour now. Come, Henry, lift your end. Henry and Mrs. Slatter, very hot and flushed, stagger in with a pretty old-fashioned bureau containing a locked desk. They put it where the chest of drawers was and straightened our ornaments, etc. There is a knock at the door. The knocking is repeated. Victoria ushers and Ben and Mrs. Jordan. The latter is a stout and complacent woman with an irritating air of being always right. She is wearing an outfit of new mourning. Ben is also in complete new mourning. He is rather a jolly little man, but at present trying to adapt himself to the regrettable occasion. Mrs. Jordan sails into the room and solemnly goes straight to Mrs. Slatter and kisses her. The men shake hands. This Mrs. Jordan. Well, Amelia, and so he's gone at last. Mrs. Slatter said, yes, he's gone. He was 72 of a fortnight. At last Sunday, she sniffs back at here. Ben, cheaply. Now, Amelia, you mustn't give away. So, we all got to die some time or other. So, this is the dialogues or conversation between these people about the death of Abel Mary's brother. Here Victoria says that's Pass clock. She says that the clock brings Mrs. Slater is belong to her grandfather. Then Mrs. Slater says that be calm, Victoria. Now this clock is ours. So don't shout. This is now ours, she said. Henry and Mrs. Slater, they are very serious and flushed. Here, the word flushed shows the angriness of their faces. Why they are looking like that? Mean they are walked slowly and unsteadily. Mean here the stagger like that. In condition to shift the bureau. They kept that bureau where the old chest of drawers was. So while they continue on this work, there is a knock at the door. They heard somebody was knocking their door. So the door knocking is repeated. So there is somebody had repeated to knock the door. Then this little Vicky goes and open the door, and she said a warm welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, sister of Amelia. Yes. Here the author explains the physical status of Mrs. Jordan and Mr. Ben. So she is a stout woman with irritating air, and she is dressed in mourning, and Ben also wear in complete new mourning. Why? Because they receive the telegram of Henry. So the matter of the telegram is her father was dying. So after they received the telegram, and immediately they came to here to attend the funerals of her fathers, like that. That's why they also wear the mourning dresses. And he is a jolly little man. Who is he here? Ben is a jolly man, but now he would like to act himself in a sad mood. Why? Because here the Abel was died. That's why. And he act like to say sorry for the death of Mrs. Abel's Mary Weather. And later that Mrs. Jordan went into the room and seriously goes to her sister, that is Amelia, and hugged her and kissed her. And the men also shook their hands here. And after that warm welcome they received, and Mrs. Jordan says, she asked her sister, finally he passed away at last. What would you say, Amelia? She asked the death of her father. Mrs. Slater. Yes, he was 72 last 2 weeks of the last Sunday, said Mrs. Slater to Mr. and Mrs. Jordan. She tries to stop her crying. She tries to stop her crying, like that. Ben cheerfully says that don't bother or don't worry about the death of your father, Amelia. So he showed the deep condolence she saw the pity of her father's death. So he says that don't bother or don't worry about the death of your father. So we all got to die sometime or others. So she condoles her Amelia. Okay, children. Next we go for the another paragraph. Then Mrs. Jordan, and now perhaps we will tell us all about it. Mrs. Slater says, father had been married this morning, and he went out soon after breakfast and pay his insurance. And here Mrs. Jordan asked her sister, now tell me what was happened. How did he died? He inquired the death of her father. So what happened to him? So how did he died like that? Then Mrs. Slater replied, he was very happy in this morning after complete his what do you call it, as breakfast. He went to pay to his premium also, and that means his insurance like that. Then Ben, my word, it's a good thing he did. I mean, that's a very good thing he did. Ben compliment Abel's did. Then Mrs. Jordan says, he always thoughtful in that way. He was too honorable to have gone without what do you call it, paying his premium. I mean, my father was too honorable or strictly follow the rules, says replied Mrs. Jordan to Mr. Ben. And Henry says, when I came in, I found, him undressed sure enough and staying in bed. So here Henry says that when he entered into the Abel's room, he was comfortably on his bed. So comfortably mean no moving this side and that side. He lying on the bed. Then Mrs. Slater, and when we had finished the dinner, I thought I had take up a bit of something on a tray. He was lying there for all the world as if he was asleep. So I put the tray down on the bureau, correcting herself. So on the chest of the dryers, and went to waken him. A pass. He was quite cold. So a pass means a stop, a little bit of a stop. They wipe their eyes and sniff back tears. So here Slater says, yes, whether when we had to finish our dinner, I had to take a tray something on it to because of for her father. So and went to his room. There Amelia found that he was lying on the bed. Who was lying on the bed? Yes, Abel Mary Weather. He was lying on the bed and without no feeling. That is, she found in without moving. So she put the tray down the bureau. She said that I put down the tray the bureau. So correcting herself, no, and says, I put the tray down on the chest of drawers. So, and I tried to waken him, but our bad luck, he was dead, said Amelia. And they wiped their eyes and stopped to crying like that. And Mrs. Slater again said, agonizing briskly at length in a business-like tone, well, will you go up and look at him now, or shall we have tea? Yes, here Mrs. Slater, rising briskly, rising quickly, interrupted and said in a business tone, well, now we are going to look at him. Then we have some tea. She offered, whether we have to take tea first or we go to the look at her father's dead body. So they give the choice to them. See children, so in this lesson we may clearly found that what type of relationship we have to maintain in these generations, what do you call, in the society also. So there is no good relations, family members. So we all act like a puppets. So we didn't have any feeling of so she is my mother and he is my father, she is my sister. We didn't show any kind of love and affection in these days. So we give the importance, we didn't give the value of our family. So we give the value of family more than money. So, and here Mrs. Jordan says that finally he passed away, and like that this shows the something on it. Okay, next. Then Mrs. Jordan, what would you say, Ben? I mean, she asked her husband, what do you say, whether drinking tea or go for a look at Evel's dead body? Then Ben, I'm not particular. So he replied, I'm not particular. That means anything you want. Then Mrs. Jordan, surveying the table, well, then if the kettle's ready, we may as well have tea first. So Mrs. Slatters puts the kettle on the fire and gets tea ready. So Mrs. Jordan went to surveying table and says, if the kettle is ready, that means the tea kettle here. So we drink tea first. So Mrs. Slatter prepared tea for him. For them, not him, sorry. Then Henry. One thing we may as well decide now is the announcement in the papers. Here. Henry inquired about the property documents here in this line. Then Mrs. Jordan replied, I was thinking of that. What would you put? A pass. A little bit of stop. So here Mrs. Jordan says that she might also thinking of that one. Okay. So there is a pass and gap. Mrs. Jordan, well, we will think about it after tea, and then we will look through his bits of things and make a list of them. This is all the furniture in his room also. It means, and this Jordan says that after tea we will thinking about the things. First of all, we prepared a list of things in her father's room and furniture also in Abel's room. Then Henry says, after hear that the words of Mrs. Jordan, Henry says, there's no jewelry or valuable of that sort. So he says, I think there is no jewelry or valuable things in his room. So, like, then Mrs. Jordan replied, expected his gold watch. He promised that to our Jimmy. Then Mrs. Mrs. Jordan interrupted to accept the gold watch. So he promised. Who was he here? So Abel Merriweather. So this old man gave the promise to. He promised to our Jimmy. Who is Jimmy here? He is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, and after the grandson of Abel. So after my death, who is my here also Abel. So after my death, this gold watch belongs to you. He promised to my Jimmy, said Mrs. Jordan. And Mrs. Slatter, promised your Jimmy? I never heard of that. And she exclaimed. So Mrs. Slatter or Amelia exclaimed, so your Jimmy? Oh, I never heard about the words from our father. See that she points that our father he didn't tell that word. So I promised to Jimmy that this watch belongs to him. After my death, you give it to her. to him. I mean, see, we did not want, heard that such type of words, she exclaimed. Then Mrs. Jordan said, "Oh, but he did, Amelia. When he was living with us, he was very fond of Jimmy." So, Mrs. Jordan, "Oh, Amelia, he promised it to Jimmy when our father was living with us." So, here, uh, a father was living with the two daughters, like that, and when he was with us, he promised to Jimmy, and he likes my Jimmy very well. So said Mrs. Jordan. Then Mrs. Slatters, "Well, amazed, I don't know." She amazed and, "Oh, I don't know," like that. Ben, anyhow, there is his insurance money. Have you got the receipt for the premium he paid this morning? Here, Ben inquired. He asked about the insurance money and also asking about the receipt for the premium, whether he paid or not. He inquired about the premium also. Then Mrs. Slaughter, "I will not seen whether he paid or not. I will not seen," like that. She says, "Oh, I will not seen. I don't know whether he paid or not," like that. Then Victoria interrupted, jumps up from the sofa and comes behind the table. She comes behind the table. Then Victoria says, "Mother, I don't think Grandpa went to pay his insurance this morning." So this little pretty precocious girl says that to her mother, "Mother, I didn't think our grandpa pay his insurance this morning." She expected her doubt here. Mrs. Slatter, "But he went out." "But he went out to the outside my child slave. Went out to the to outside my child," says Slatter. Then Victoria, yes, but he didn't go into the town. He met a old Mr. Tattersall down that street and they went off past St. Philip's Church. So this Victoria says, yes, we're correct. My grandpa went to the outside but not pay the premium. So our grandfather not pay the premium, but he went to meet his old friend Mr. Tattersall down the street, and after that they went off the past St. Philip Church. So this girl said that her grandfather didn't went to the town to pay the premium. So he went to the street at the down, and there he meet his old friend Mr. Tattersall, and after that they went to they went off the past St. Philip Church. So here Ben asks, "Do you think he hasn't paid it? Was it overdue?" Or do you think he hasn't paid the premium? I think was it overdue. Overdue mean, what is the meaning of here? Overdue mean not paid by expected time. Okay, I think he didn't pay his premium at the expected time. So that it was a overdue. Then Mrs. Slatter, I should think it was overdue. So I may also think it was overdue. Like that says Mrs. Slatter. Then Mrs. Jordan asks, something tells me he is not paid it. So something tells me he is not paid it. I think he is not paid the premium. Then Ben, the drunken old beggar. He scolded him, the drunken old beggar. So why did he scold like that? Mean he didn't pay the premium. Then Mrs. Jordan, he's done it on purpose just to annoy us. So he done it on purpose. He he did not pay the premium. They are nice. Mrs. Latter, after all I've done for him, having to put with him in the house these 3 years, it's nothing short of swindling. So this is nothing short of swindling means, so me cheating somebody's property. There is no time in which it's very short to deal with. Mrs. Jordan, I had to put up with him for 5 years. And Mrs. Latter said, and you were trying to turn him over to all of the time. Henry. So these two sisters are arguing about the property of their fathers, and also the share of their fathers. Henry says, but we don't know for certain that he is not pay the premium. So whether actually he pay the premium or not, we don't know. Then Mrs. Latter, Victoria runs upstairs and fetch that bunch of keys that's on your grandpa's dressing table. Then Mrs. Latter asked Victoria to run the upstairs and fetch the bunch of keys where his mother was kept on the dressing table. So these bunch of keys here belongs to bureau. Then Victoria timidly, in grandpa's room? Mrs. Latter, yes. Victoria, I don't like to. Mrs. Latter, don't talk so silly. There is no one who can hurt you. So Victoria goes out reluctantly. We will see if he's locked the receipt up in the bureau. So Mrs. Latter ordered to Victoria to go and bring the bunch of keys that was put in the dressing table of her father's room. Then Victoria says, in grandpa's room? No, I don't want to go that room. Then Mrs. Latter strictly warned her, don't talk too silly. There is no one to hurt you. So you please go and bring the bunch of keys. So Victoria go to the room according to her mother's instructions unwillingly. Then we will see if he locked the receipt up in the bureau. So said Mrs. Slater. And here Mr. Ben also inquired like that. In where? In this morning he raised an examines it. So where is that bureau? So we bought it in this morning and in these things like that. Mrs. Jordan also rising. Where did you pick that up, Amelia? It's new since last I was here. They examined it closely. Oh, this is very looking so nice. And did you bought it up? Like that. Then Mrs. Slater. Oh, Henry picked it up one day. So this bureau bought by Henry. Victoria returns very scared and she closed the door after her. Victoria, mother. Like Mrs. Slater, what's it, child? Victoria. Grandpa's getting up. So this little Vicky says that Grandpa's getting up. Then Ben sudden. What? Mrs. Slater. What do you say, my child? He asked. Victoria. Yes. Grandpa is getting up. Mrs. Jordan. The child's crazy. In here, the Victoria behaves like a what do you call, in a crazy way. Then Mrs. Slater said, "Don't talk so silly. Don't you know your grandpa's dead?" So Mrs. Slater asked her daughter, "Don't talk silly words. So as you know, your grandpa was dead." Then Victoria, No, he is getting up. I saw him." They are transfixed with amazement. Victoria clings to Mrs. Slater. Then Ben suddenly, "Shh! Listen." They look at the door. A slight chuckling is heard from upstairs. The door opens, revealing an old man clad in a faded but gay dressing gown. He is in his stocking feet. Although over 70, he is vigorous and well colored. His bright, malicious eyes twinkle under his heavy reddish grey eyebrows. He is obviously either the old man, Abel Merryweather, or else his ghost. Here, what our little Vicky says that Grandpa is getting up. Yes, this is true. Here, Abel Merryweather was not dead. He didn't die. But Mrs. Slater thinks that her father was lying dead. But actually he is not dead. So the doors open and revealing an old man. This old man was Abel Merryweather. He was a faded face, but he was dressed in gay gown, and he is in his stocking feet, and although over 70, I mean he crossed 70, and he is a vigorous and well colored. These are the physical appearance of Abel Merryweather. The author explained in very detailed manner. And his bright malicious eyes twinkle under his heavy reddish gay eyebrows. He is none other than Abel Merryweather. So let's find what will happen on this second part. Later we'll discuss about it. Now, students, did you understand the lesson? Yes, this is a very wonderful lesson. So it shows the human relationship. What type of relations are being maintained in these days? Okay. Now take down the comprehension questions. Now take down the comprehension based on the paragraphs. What were the instructions of Victoria's mother? So what were the instructions of Victoria's mother, who were trying to pinch the bureau? Who were trying to pinch the bureau? What is the list they wanted to prepare? What is the list they want to prepare? And last one is, what is the Ben is not particular about? What is the Ben is not particular about? So all of you take down these questions and write down the answers based on this lesson. Okay. Next, write down the some more questions. It is, how long did Mrs. Slater put up with Abel? How long did Mrs. Slater put up with Abel? What did Mrs. Slater think was nothing but swindling? Henry picked it up one day. What is it here? And the last one is, what does the word transfixed mean? What does the word transfixed mean? Now students, take down the assignment. So in the lesson, the dear departed one, Victoria notices that her grandpa is getting up. So her grandpa is getting up. Imagine that you are Victoria. Write a diary entry about the incident. Okay children, so you all of you know how to write a diary entry, the discourses of diary entry. So here imagine that you are Victoria and write down the incidents of your grandpa is getting up based on the lesson the dear departed one. Okay students, note down the assignment and comprehensions also. So you all of you follow the online classes regularly. Okay. Thank you.